Hey, good morning. I am back at it. I made a video earlier today, and unfortunately, I had to scrap it. It just did not work out the way I wanted it to. So I think I remembered some of the things I was talking about. I just wanted to go ahead and upload this little picture here, or show you this picture. It is of the sweater that I showed a couple days ago in my video. You can't see the bottom of it, but I think you can understand. I shortened it, the length of it, and then I also made a handbag out of the jacket that I didn't like. Okay. And as it was sitting there on the mannequin, I kept thinking, oh my goodness, this goes with this sweater. See, what I do is I busy myself with the things that I like doing. One of the reasons why I don't get involved in um, gossip and I mind my own business is that I'm totally engrossed in my own life. Okay, I busy myself with my hobbies, things that I'm interested in, my writing, my video recording, my clothes making, my arts and crafts, my painting, whatever. You know, and these are where my passions are. So anyway, I wanted to kind of go over some of these thoughts. Now I know that people believe that I have the ability to shift things, and yes, I obviously do have a gift of a metaphysic gift type gift, and this has been very misunderstood for a very long time. I think I explained it pretty well in my last newsletter, and apparently the churches have cleared CB Berganza's name. I believe my father's name as well has also been cleared because we have been given a bad rap. It has been very obvious to many people that a lot of the things that churches practice, even some religions, have been developed directly from who I am as a person. So this was obviously a form of control, especially when you think about the underground crime syndicates and everything that is linked to it. This was not the act of God. It was a basically a crime, and then they of course use God as an excuse. So now where am I at? So right now, my son is, I guess he's getting ready to get back to work. He had an injury, and now he's doing that. My big issue right now is that I am hoping that my son, I don't mind if my son lives with me. That's not the issue. It's the fact that the community got together and thought that it was okay to plan my life. That is not acceptable. Okay. The reason why is obviously because I don't believe in living my life that affects other people. Meaning, I am an independent person. I think about my future. And of course, I worry about my son's future because I want him to be happy. But I don't believe in imposing my problems on other people. Okay. That means that I'm reducing the quality of my son's life. Okay. And it's not because we agreed on it, it was because that was forced upon us. And this is something I do not appreciate. Something about my father's apparition, and Masons always regarded CB as the savior. So what I'm understanding is that Masons had a high regard for me, but certain church people didn't. And I know that throughout the years or ages, I should say, that many Masons developed their own religions. Like Joseph Smith was of the LDS Church. He was a Freemason. I talked about the rituals. I mentioned Charles Taze Russell of the Bible students, which eventually became the Jehovah's Witnesses. He too was a Freemason. So I understand that there's always been the Masons and there's always been their churches. And then sometimes certain church members become overzealous and start talking, such as what Bruce Collins did. Like I said, the whole thing about Bruce Collins and Sarah, I don't know if Sarah was an actual Jehovah's Witness. Why did Bruce think it was okay to, he got in with these Moomaw people and everything else? Jehovah's Witnesses were supposed to be very strict about keeping the religion separate. Whatever. My life right now is focused on getting back to work, and that's not always easy to do, especially because I was a victim of human trafficking, which entailed smear campaigns and getting people to collaborate in bullying tactics, which makes it difficult because you can't just send out your resume with feeling confident that somebody's actually going to follow up accordingly. You may have if you're a victim of human trafficking, there could be somebody intercepting your resume, not showing it and forwarding it to the appropriate people, and all of this. This is one thing I really think it's important for me to emphasize this one more time, okay? To Karen Go and Paris, and anyone else in a different community, okay? Do not ever let something like this get out of hand again. Apparently, the Masons worldwide do support me, as well as I get a lot of intuitive messages about Europe. And I did mention earlier in my video about how people in Europe were talking about workplace mobbing before people started talking about it here in the United States. This is one of the reasons why I had brought this up to Laura Hill over at CFS when I first realized I was a victim of human trafficking or gang stalking. And I said that I was a victim of workplace mobbing. And I remember trying to explain it to her, but I just don't think she understood it. Now I would think that everybody here in the community should understand what human trafficking, gang stalking is, and workplace violations are. I am grateful that CB has been vindicated and has now respected in all churches. I do expect to have full 100% rights, just like anybody else should, okay? Now, I got some intuitive messages that people talk about me getting involved in politics, like becoming the president or something. Here's the thing, okay? No, I don't want to specifically become the president, but I'll be damned if somebody tries to prevent me from being a president. If I want to be the president of the United States, I have every right to sit here and run for the president of the United States. Like I said, don't you dare try to stomp on my right to be a president. Personally, I think I'd make a mighty fine president, to be honest with you, because I believe in how society should run, and I care about the overall well-being of people's overall lives. Really, seriously. And of course, if you care about the overall well-being of people's lives, people are going to they are going to reciprocate, and of course they're going to do everything they can to defend the country that they love, right? Because they love their life here. It makes sense, okay? It's like you give to the people and they give back in dedication 100% full. So I understand how politics run, okay? But it's just the fact that I think that that's a lot of responsibility. I hope that I am able to influence the politicians in the White House indirectly. Okay, but I also want it to be said that if I wanted to be president, I could be president. That's important. When somebody tries to blot out your rights as a person in the United States, that your life is basically has no meaning. You had no right to ever interfere with anything in my life, and I've said this before. As far as the churches are concerned, I'm glad that, it's unfortunate that our country is not supposed to be run on religion, okay? So the fact that all these churches got together and prevented me from working and preventing me from standing out and doing what I needed to do, they should have never played that much of an integral role in something like this, okay? And like I said, going forward, if they have an interest in somebody's spiritual life, they need to talk to that person directly one-on-one. Earlier, I got a phone call. I don't know if it could have been a telemarketer. I wasn't trying to be mean or anything. Just that, I realized it was one of these soliciting type calls. I am no longer taking those kind of calls, okay? Anyway, the other messages I've got is that, yes, I know that I talked about in my last newsletter about people have, for many years, not understanding. I personally think that they did understand. They understood that we were direct contact in association with the divine energies. I truly believe that. Why would you take something from somebody, use it as your own, and then vilify somebody? When I think about people using God as an excuse, okay, to steal from other people and then use me as some sort of scapegoat, I find that just absolutely shocking and disturbing. I really do. It baffles me that some people would want to return to the earth only because, like I said, you know what? There's certain things that are very beautiful, okay? But what makes earth hell is the fact that the work life, okay? There's too many people who do not have proper work. Work life makes life hell. It really does. It makes life hell. Okay, I would say that my life has suffered because of the workplace and because of the stupid Collins and them, putting their nose in places that did not belong. I did apply for a few jobs today, and I Yeah, I did apply for a few jobs today. And, I am somebody who needs to work full time. I'm doing the best I can to get back on my feet. I even applied to a retail position because, I feel as though why shouldn't I should work in a clothing store? I mean, that's just one of my many options that I feel I could do. I could I could manage a clothing store or a shoe store or whatever. I'm open to a lot of different opportunities. But one thing I don't want to do is ever be in a situation where I feel like it's not a fit. Now, I get the intuitive message that a lot of people like my management skills. In the right context and the right environment, I'm willing to do that. All I care about really is making sure that my son does not feel obligated and being put in this situation. Like I said, my son is welcome to stay with me for as long as he wants. I'm glad that he's here. He keeps me company. I enjoy seeing his little face every day, okay? But it's the fact that somebody put something in place to prevent my son and reduce the quality of life as if that was I have never believed in being a burden to anybody at all. Okay? That means I believe in 100% self-sufficiency. So I don't sit here and ask for handouts. And yes, I do, I've gotten things like, food stamps and stuff like that. But the only reason why is because they prevented me from working. Okay, if I have always tried, like when I had my son, the reason why I wanted to work, I was willing to work. I got off welfare. You know what I mean? So it's like, I never want anybody to say that, oh, Maria didn't do this or she didn't. I want my life to be said when it's my time to go on this earth, I earned my keep and I did what I needed to do. And yes, I do have those kind of morals and I resent people for projecting their own issues onto me. I want my son to have a better life than I did, okay? And I can honestly tell you that I suffered in my entire lives. Okay, why? Because of wicked, evil people. So it's my turn now. The United States, apparently, the messages I'm getting is that the United States supports me. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because I know that Bruce's family had people ostracize me, right? They had people ostracize me so that they could not hear my side of the story. I did make a comparison about Bruce's family and people like that, okay, who are very boxed in. Like, to them, this is a reality. The whole world operates based on what goes on in the Kingdom Hall or whatever. That is not reality, okay? You do not impose your religious view. You might have a particular religious view or a certain doctrine that you're supposed to follow based on your church for whatever reason. Okay, let's just say, for example, you go to a church where women have to wear long skirts, like all the way down to their ankles. And so this lady who goes to this church, she meets a woman in the grocery store, and this woman is wearing, I would say, a regular dress, but it's a little over the knee. Now, she was raised not to wear that thing. Does she have a right to criticize this other woman or try to cause problems for her? Her attitude should just be, oh, okay, well, this is what I'm wearing, and this is what she chooses to wear. That's her choice. That is her choice. What I was thinking about earlier is how free will is so important to our dedication to the divine. If we are forced to worship something, then it's worthless. Just like if somebody was forced to be my husband, like he was just forced to marry me, right? It would be of no value. The relationship would be no value to me because this is something that does not come from his heart. He truly doesn't want to, and the only reason why he's doing it is to keep me up, is to do something, either get something or whatever. So this is the beauty of free will. So when I was a young girl, uh, in high school, I took an interest in spirituality, not because my parents were making me, not because the kids in school were making me, not because church officials were making me, because it was my free will. I chose to love the things of God. I chose, okay, me. That makes my dedication meaningful to the divine. If you are somebody who goes to a church just because you're getting pressured or whatever, when you come to the divine, you wonder, oh, how come my prayers don't matter? Because you don't really have a relationship with the divine. You don't really have one. Okay? What you have is you have a relationship with an institution that's making you do that. Okay? So when it comes down to it, God doesn't really look at it that way. It has to be something that brings joy to your heart, and it does not bring joy through force. Okay? The intuitive messages as I'm getting is, yes, my financial problems are 100% the responsibility and fault of this community. Okay, and the United States agrees with me. Okay, you do not prevent people from working, you do not single people out, and you do not sit here and try to pester people over views that you may not have. If you choose to live your life a specific way, then you have the right to live your life that way, and other people have the right to live theirs. Now, if somebody is causing an issue to where they are putting themselves in danger and putting you in danger, then this is something that you need to alert the authorities to. Okay, I think it's really silly when people contact people like the president. The president's got a crap load of things to do. They do not need to sit here and worry about frivolous stuff like that. You should have never done something to that extent, and by you doing that shows that that was ill intention. You were absolutely wicked. Okay, and the reason why is they were complaining to the president that Maria dresses nice, make her stop doing it. That's evil. Okay, that is evil. And so this is the reason why I have a hard time. There's a lot of people that I encounter at the store. Like, for example, I'll go to a checkout place and they know that they were a part of the harassment campaign. They know it. They're ashamed to look at me in the eye. They are ashamed to look at me in the eye because they know what was driving them to do that, and that was only wickedness. The intuitive message I'm getting right now is that I am single and I will be for the rest of my life. I want to say this really quick. Now, I am not a Bible thumper, and I understand that the Bible was written. I have respect for the Bible. If you remember, King Solomon was noted for contributing 3 books in the Bible. Okay, the reason why I'm saying this is because for the hypocritical people who wanted to sit here and bash me about my choices about being not being married, which were mostly based on my own safety and also my disgust at the world and their view of marriage, okay? But I wanted to reference 1 Corinthians 7:8. It is stated that it is good for the unmarried and widows to remain single, as the Apostle Paul himself did. However, if they cannot control their desires, it is better for them to marry. That is in the Bible. That is in the Bible. So if you are more, I am more spiritually glowing and happy when I'm not, connected with marriage. When it comes to me and controlling my desires, I consider myself asexual. And do I believe that the cloning process had something to do with this? I will tell you, King Solomon must have been a very fertile person. Okay, he wrote the Song of Songs, which was actually a form of erotic poetry. So he did value sexual activity. Sexual activity can be a very, powerful thing. However, in this life, as Maria Garden, I'm very indifferent to it. This was because of the cloning process, okay? So yes, there is nothing wrong with being single. The Bible talks about being single. The only reason why the Bible specifically enforces marriage or suggests marriage is if you are somebody who cannot resist those sort of desires. I could care less about those desires, at least in this life, right? Okay, so the other message I got is that I had mentioned this before. Many people have woken up to the lie of Christianity. Now, I am not saying that there's no good in churches. I am just saying there has been corruption for a very long time, and people need to understand what is the will of man and what is the will of God. And a lot of times, people in positions of power, they can get crooked very quickly. Okay, they can become very, very crooked quickly. Okay, because they see things as a specific view that they want, like they have their own idea of how a utopia that they would like to have, right? And so sometimes they like to force members into doing certain things that they couldn't want to do. And this is more the desire of man and not of God. And because most people really don't have the ability to use discernment, they get sucked up into it all the time. I don't feel sorry for my sister Lisa or any of these people who got sucked up into it. You know why? Because they should have. Number one, you should seek knowledge. Knowledge is the most important thing, okay? If you got conned in a cult, that's too bad. Okay, the other message I'm getting is 100% okay. There is no limit to my magic. I can do anything. This is what a lot of people believe, okay? I know that I've had intuitive downloads about people saying or believing that I could fly in past lives. Like I said, I don't know about all of that. Maybe I did astrally. I don't have wings. I don't see how that's possible. I'm pretty sure some things could be true. Some things could be exaggerated, whatever. But I definitely do have what they call a divine blessing over me. I am anointed by God. Okay. Apparently, million fans are gathering to show their appreciation. And I don't know any of this. Okay. It was specifically, purposely kept from me. Like, you know how some people have fans and they engage with their fans? This was deliberately kept from me. You know why? Because Terry Collins was jealous and didn't want anybody knowing about this. All the other message I'm getting is that everyone knows that I'm holy and I should be respected. It's disrespectful to man my YouTube channel. Okay. So anyway, I get really tired of dealing with people a lot because they say one thing and mean another, and it bothers me. Anyway, so you know it's unfortunate because my work is really important, and I resent people from stifling me. So yeah. Anyway, what other message do I have? I am pretty much by myself, meaning like, okay, yes, I have a son. My son is an adult. We are two separate people. He's an adult. He has his own tastes and likes. I'm an adult and I have my own tastes and likes. We agree on some things. We don't agree on other things, okay? But we live a very harmonious life. What I'm saying is that just because he's my son does not mean that I impose my life on him. He has his own choices, okay? But one thing I want him to understand is uh, he was associated. I know that Bruce probably wanted him to be quiet about this sort of stuff, and a lot of other men were probably trying to indoctrinate my child and putting him in the wrong direction. You had no right to do that. My son was a minor at the time, as well as if it's my choice to raise my son in a spiritual direction, I would have never chosen organized religion ever. Okay, the other message I'm getting is apparently white people support me. A lot of white people think that I'm a blessing to see. I'm going to be honest with you. I have not seen very many white people lately, okay? And it could be the very fact that I'm living on this side of town, okay? Most of the people on my side of town were either brown or black, okay? We don't have very many white people, okay? Because I live on the east side, okay? But I'm trying to think, okay, last time I went to Rosedale, okay, I did see a white person yesterday, okay? Woo. I was wondering, where are all the white people at? I haven't seen them. Anyway, but that's nice. I appreciate your support. I'm glad that people are starting to understand, yes, to lie and say that beautification is not important is absolutely a lie. I know that my sister Lisa was somebody who was extremely jealous of me throughout her entire life. And I do know that a lot of women were used to target me. This is something that women have been in very much denial about for a long time. A lot of women are disappointed with themselves, and it hurts them when they see somebody else. It is not anybody's responsibility to hold themselves back, dim their light, or try to prevent them from living their life if you are not feeling good about yourself. If you're somebody who is struggling with maybe the way that you look and you don't feel good about yourself, then you need to take baby steps. The first thing I suggest is start with your feet. Start with your feet, okay? Give yourself, if you can't afford somebody to give you a pedicure, give yourself a pedicure. Okay, start off with life affirming colors. Paint your nails in life affirming color. If you don't wear nail polish, then wear some socks. Okay, try to get yourself feeling good from the feet up. Okay, once you work with your feet, start working with your legs. You might say, hey, you know what, I want to try something like maybe wear some different kinds of pants. Then work up. This is just an idea. Work up from the next thing. Maybe start getting yourself some different shirts or something. Do your hair. Do something. Okay? And if you choose not to do that, that's your choice. But leave people alone who choose to. Okay? If you don't care about your parents, that's your choice. I've never tried to, we call it twist people's arms. If you're interested in trying to change yourself, change yourself. If you can't, stay out of the way. Stay out of your way. Stay out of the way. Okay, according to what I see right now is that I am only known as a professional and valuable person, according to what the Bakersfield employers are saying. I hope so. You know what I mean? I know that I've dealt with a lot of problems in the past, and I don't want to have to think about them anymore. So yeah, I did apply for some jobs, and I did follow up on some emails with some companies. There's certain things I don't want to do. Like I don't mind working as a bookkeeper. I could be an administrative assistant. I could be an executive assistant. I could even work retail to a certain extent. Like I don't mind um, okay, there's certain things I don't like. Like I don't mind working retail, but see, most retail jobs do not allow me to make enough money so that I can be, financially comfortable, at least pay my own bills and live independently on my own. That's important, okay? It's important that, you know, my son could stay with me forever, but it's the fact that people put us in a situation like this. This is what I do not forgive. I do not forgive, okay? So, let me see. What else? That's it. So if you are an employer, make sure you keep your eyes peeled for my resume that's coming through. Apparently my management skills are welcome. I get this message, your management skills are recognized, appreciated, and most people do look at them as revolutionary. It would be great for me to be a manager, but if that's not the case, it is what it is, okay? Like I said, the sad part is I do not have a lot of faith in the work sector because, you know, I don't even have to tell you why. I think a lot of people know that management has not been done right. If I have the opportunity to be a great manager, I will embrace it. But it, you know, it depends on the environment. You know, I obviously care about the kind of work environment that I talk about, envision. Okay, I would like to see this realized, but the thing is that I deal with a lot of competitors and all this other stuff. Just I wish it wasn't so difficult. Anyway, I want to say shout out to the Masons here in Bakersfield. If you can help me get back in the workforce, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, in Lancaster, I feel as though my life in Lancaster is dead at this point. If there's an opportunity for me to be able to give back to Lancaster and live there, you know, with an employment setup, all wonderful, I cry out to the Masons in Lancaster to, you know, help me out with that either. Either way, I just need employment. I want to hurry up, get back to work, hopefully get back to work as soon as possible. And that's my goal right now. And then, of course, I want to be able to pay up some of my bills. I want to get my credit back to where it was. Yes, my credit needs to go right back to where they had no right to touch it. Okay, I have right. I've been working my entire life to build my credit. Okay, I did not have deserve to have other people mess with you. Had no right to touch that. The employers do not have the right to touch your credit. You guys have believed things you should have not believed. And this is one of the reasons why I look at a lot of people in this community and I keep thinking, some of these people I feel very sorry for. I can tell that they're abused people. I can tell they're abused. Okay? People can tell you anything and you'll believe it. You know what I mean? I will tell you, if we were to face some sort of disaster in this community, it would be very difficult for me. I always grapple with, should I warn people or should I just take cover? Because I know the first initial reaction from people is they're going to sit here and try to want to debate you. They're going to sit here and try to contest. It's like, you know what, then just save yourself. Because there's so many people who just don't get it. They don't get it, okay? But it's these kind of people that don't get it that should not be in the workplace. Anyway, got a lot to do. I hope that you like this teal sweater, and if you don't, I actually dress for myself. I don't dress for any other people. I like what I like. We all have our preferences, but I do like this. It's a very simple, basic look. I like the necklace with it, and I think it's a go. So all I have to do is trim up the bottom of the sweater. And as far as the applique, I talked about adding applique to this bag. I think I'm going to leave it plain, possibly, only because I want to move on to different projects. My son did get me a bag. Let me show you the bag my son got me. Okay, this is a bag that I told my son that I was tired of carrying my briefcase with my what do you call it? My laptop in it. And I've noticed that a lot of the people on the bus were using like backpack, keeping their laptops in backpacks and stuff. So I kept thinking, okay, I'm going to go ahead and give this a try. So he got me one. I ordered one. And when I wanted one in green, and it came in, and it was more like an army green. And I'm like, oh, it looked like it was spring green on the advertisement. Yes, I'm a little disappointed, okay? I'm a little disappointed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to paint some acrylic autumn leaves on the bag, okay, to make it look like it's an autumn background. And this is going to be what I'm going to be using for the rest of this season. So I'm going to show you the product, the finished product, when I'm done. I look forward to that. Until then, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Wish me luck in the work world. Hopefully I'll find a job soon. I'll be back with another video sometime later. Take care. Bye-bye.